Welcome to Damn Good Movie Memories with your host, Brian Davis. This podcast is the cure for your long commute and super boring workday. Hey there, it's Brian Davis, and for this week's episode, we've graduated from high school, and now we're off to college. As we discovered, there were tons of high school movies, and the theory behind that is everyone has to pretty much legally go to high school, so there's more, experiences. Everyone can relate to that. For college, that's not in the cards for everyone. Doesn't mean you have to go to college. However, there are a few good movies about college, and I found a few. I did find a top 10 list, and I have some honorable mentions, but not nearly as many as I did for high school. And unfortunately, we don't have as many interviews just because college movies don't seem to be as memorable. That's okay. We still have an episode for you. So let's go to college. Let's get into my top 10 list right now. All right, number 10 is National Lampoon's Van Wilder from 2002. So if you watch enough college-type comedies or movies under the National Lampoon moniker, you'll realize they all, follow a certain format. Van Wilder is no different when it comes to being predictable, but that doesn't mean it isn't fun to watch. Certain genres of movies follow a format because that's what the viewers want. There's no need to reinvent the wheel all the time. Van Wilder stars Ryan Reynolds, Tara Reid, Kal Penn, and Tim Matheson. Tim Matheson, you might remember, starred in one of the most famous college movies of all time, which we'll be getting to. The quick plot about Van Wilder is about a super popular 7-year college student, Ryan Reynolds, who finally gets his tuition cut off by his dad, played by Tim Matheson, and he basically needs to raise cash to continue with his overlong college career. It's a lot of fun. It's mindless entertainment. It's exactly what you want on a lazy, weekend afternoon. This one you can put on at any time and still enjoy it. All right, number 9 is 22 Jump Street from 2014. 21 Jump Street was really well done and super funny, therefore I had really high hopes for 22 Jump Street. They, of course, and I think I mentioned this in my high school honorable mentions, that was one of my favorite movies, and so now they've moved on in the sequel to college. And the great part about this sequel is that the movie pokes fun at itself and movie sequels in general, often referencing the cliches of sequels. Obviously, movie viewers enjoy these films as well because there's a third installment planned. Woohoo! And just the cast is great. I always enjoy Rob Riggle. He has a scene where he's in prison. Same thing with Dave Franco. It's just it's really well done. And I'm glad they didn't fall into the Hangover pitfall of basically doing the exact same movie as a sequel. There's one thing to please your audience, but there's another thing to just basically be lazy. And 22 Jump Street is not lazy. Number 8 is PCU from 1994. If you used to watch Comedy Central back in the day, maybe in the late 90s, early 2000s, this has been on a lot. But this stars Jeremy Piven and Jon Favreau's in it, along with David Spade. And it's your typical frat house college, in the vein of other college movies that are coming up. But this is one you could easily have forgotten. Very similar to Van Wilder. It's a lot of fun, super short, goes quick. Just a fun kind of party movie that, it kind of follows, a cliche of certain, frat house type movies, but it's still a lot of fun. It's not meant to win any awards. It's just meant to, on a lazy Saturday, watch this movie. There's a great scene with George Clinton and Parliament Funkadelic. So if you enjoy that music, it's very cool. But yeah, definitely check this one out. It's less than an hour and a half, so you really can't go wrong. Number 7 is The Waterboy from 1998. And by the time The Waterboy came out, I was already in, Adam Sandler fanboy mode. I saw all of his movies, owned all of his comedy albums, and pretty much anything that had him in it, I was going to see. I loved Billy Madison. I loved Happy Gilmore, The Wedding Singer. So being a football fan, how could I not love The Waterboy? The football scenes are great. They're action-packed. Kathy Bates is terrific as Sandler's overprotective mother, and Henry Winkler, the Fonz, is well cast as the overly nervous football coach. And of course, who doesn't want to hear Rob Schneider yell, "You can do it!
You can do it! Cut his fucking head off! You can do it! You can do it all night long!" I'm gonna go do it!
Number 6 is Accepted from 2006. This is a ridiculous comedy starring Justin Long, Jonah Hill, Blake Lively, and Lewis Black. The premise behind the movie involves Justin Long, who is a smart but directionless high school grad who is rejected by every college he applies to. So in order to appease his disapproving parents, he decides to create a fake college acceptance letter along with a functional website. The school name is South Harmon Institute of Technology, which is the acronym of SHIT. However, his parents want to actually visit the school in person, and Long has to rush to create a college environment from a former mental hospital because that's the only thing they could find. So it's a lot of fun. It follows the vein of other college movies I picked. You see a theme that a lot of the college movies I pick are comedies. So that's just the mindset I have when I think of college. Number 5 is Revenge of the Nerds from 1984. This is another cult classic, and it's a great 80s comedy starring Robert Carradine, Anthony Edwards, Ted McGinley, and John Goodman. Yes, John Goodman's in this. The story is your typical underdog story, but it totally works and actually was way ahead of its time. In today's tech culture, nerd or geek isn't even considered a derogatory term. If anything, it's a badge of honor. That wasn't so in the 80s. Personal computers were still in their infancy, and widespread internet was still a good 10 to 15 years away. And, the nerds versus jocks is always going to be funny if done right, and Revenge of the Nerds just pulls it off. There's some great scenes in there, and it's really timeless. Now, John Goodman actually plays the football coach for the evil frat that kind of tries to take over Lambda, but there's some great scenes in this, and you get to see young Anthony Edwards, and yeah, good movie. Good 80s movie. Number 4 is Old School from 2003. For a long time, there was kind of a lull with regards to ridiculous comedy movies being made. Every now and then, you would get an American Pie or a Road Trip, but for the most part, the outrageous movies that seemed to be released regularly in the 80s weren't really carrying over to the new millennium. Then out of the blue, no pun intended, Old School comes out and restores my faith in humanity. Not really, but that sounded great. I mean, it's just a movie after all. Anyway, I digress. Old School really launched Will Ferrell's movie career. He had been in a few movies prior to Old School, but was best known for his work on Saturday Night Live. And how could you not love Frank the Tank and him driving in his Trans Am, playing, Here I Go Again from Whitesnake. It's just awesome. And then, of course, You're My Boy Blue, and then, in case you missed that pun earlier. And then you have the greatest wedding band of all time, and we'll play a little Total Eclipse from the Heart from the Dan Band.
Every now and then I get a little bit lonely and you're never coming round. Turn around. Every now and then I get a little bit tired of listening to the sound of my tears. Turn around. Every now and then I get a little bit nervous that the best of all the years have gone by. Turn around. Every now and then I get a little bit terrified. I see the fucking look in your eyes. Turn around, bright eyes. Every now and then I fall apart. Turn around, bright eyes. You're fucking every now and then I fall apart. And I need you now, tonight. I fucking need you more than ever.
Number 3 is Back to School from 1986. With the exception of Caddyshack, Back to School is the best Rodney Dangerfield movie. Back to School was old school before old school. It's got a completely farcical premise, and that's why it works so well, because Rodney never takes himself too seriously. Even though I was only 8 or 9 at the time when I first saw this, it made me look forward to going to college. My dad had ended up buying the soundtrack just for Dead Man's Party by Oingo Boingo. It's a great song. They're the party band. When Robert Downey Jr. used to crack me up with one of his scenes. Maybe we'll play it later. But the best scene in this movie is with the legendary Sam Kinison as Rodney's very, very troubled history teacher.
Welcome to Contemporary American History. I'm Professor Turgerson. A lot of people think history is just facts. It's just information about the past. but not me. I mean, I hold history very sacred. Sacred. The way the farmer looks at the earth and he holds it sacred. The way a Christian takes the Bible and he holds it sacred. The way a lot of people hold their marriage sacred. That's how I feel about it. So why don't we dive right in by interpreting one of the easiest events in the last 20 years of American history. Now, can someone tell me why in 1975 we pulled our troops out of Vietnam?
The failure of Vietnamization to win popular support caused an ongoing erosion of confidence in the various American but illegal Saigon regimes.
Is she right? Because I know that's the popular version of what went on there. I know a lot of people like to believe that. I wish I could, but I was there. I wasn't here in the classroom, hoping I was right, thinking about it. I was up to my knees in rice paddies with guns, and then we're going up against Charlie, slugging it out with him, while pussies like you were back here partying, putting headbands on, doing drugs, listening to the goddamn Beatle albums. Oh! Oh!
Hey, Professor, take it easy, will you? I mean, these kids, they were in grade school at the time. And me, I'm not a fighter. I'm a lover.
Well, I didn't know you wanted to get involved with the discussion, Mr. Helper. But since you want to help, maybe you can help me, okay? You remember that thing we had about 30 years ago called that Korean conflict? Yeah, where we failed to achieve victory. How come we didn't cross the 38th parallel and push those rice eaters back to the Great Wall of China and take the Berkeley brick and nuke them back into the fucking Stone Age River? How come? Tell me why? Say it! Say it!
All right, I'll say it. Because Truman was too much of a pussy wimp to let MacArthur go in there and blow out those commie bastards.
Good answer. Good answer. I like the way you think. I'm gonna be watching you.
A good teacher. He really seems to care. About what, I have no idea. Oh, I love three girls at once. If I fall asleep, we got each other to talk
to. Nice look. What are you going for? The heavy disassociated artist thing or the I'm going blind thing? Huh? Oh, it's the deaf thing. Oh! Maybe this will cheer you up. Oh, do me!
Derek, get up, will you? You look like the poster boy for birth control.
Number 2 is one of the most underrated movies, I think, from the 1980s, especially how ahead of its time it was, and that is Real Genius from 1985. I loved Real Genius as a kid growing up in the 1980s, and while my introduction to Val Kilmer was through Top Gun, my favorite movie with him is Real Genius. You know, the engineering scenes might seem a bit primitive by today's standards. The experience of college life at a school of highly gifted engineering majors is still fascinating to watch, and so you get to see this kind of in its infancy. And so if you love shows like The Big Bang Theory, you might want to check this out. This is the beginning of all that, and the characters are, you know, even more lovable in many ways. And to me, this is one of Val Kilmer's best roles. And if you're just simply a fan of 80s flicks and love nostalgia, Real Genius will definitely satisfy those needs as well. Great ending scene with Everybody Wants to Rule the World from Tears for Fears. It's a really, really strong ending. Number 1, and there's no dispute, this is by far the greatest college movie of all time. No debate. Animal House from 1978. Was it over when the Germans bombed Pearl Harbor? Hell no. I mean, come on. That's stuff like that. It resonates. It stays forever. I'm pretty sure I saw the Blues Brothers before I saw Animal House, and I was hooked on John Belushi after loving the Blues Brothers. And then I rented a Best of Saturday Night Live compilation video, which featured all of Belushi's greatest skits. And looking back now, my parents were seriously awesome when it came to letting me watch movies. You know, even if the rating was considered too mature for my age at the time, my mom and dad rule. And of course, they're listening. So there you go. You guys get some props. Yeah, the language in here, yeah, maybe a little salty. There's nudity, big deal. They cared more about substance and quality than, you know, some TNA. So great. I appreciate it. This movie still resonates with me. But really, as great as Belushi is, Tim Matheson, this is Kevin Bacon's first movie. There's some great actors in her. Donald Sutherland, Karen Allen's debut. The one that steals it is John Vernon, who plays Dean Wormer. He is so good. And I played this on the podcast before. The scene where he's reading all their GPAs and all their grades, it is priceless. One of the greatest scenes in movie history.
Where are the other two? Stratton and Schoenstein?
We looked everywhere, sir, but...
Never mind. It doesn't matter. Have you gentlemen seen your midterm grades yet?
Well, they're not posted yet, sir.
I've seen them. Mr. Kroger, 2 C's, 2 D's, and an F. That's a 1.2 grade average. Congratulations, Kroger. You're at the top of the Delta Pledge class. Mr. Dorfman.
Hello.
0.2. Fat, drunk, and stupid is no way to go through life, son. Mr. Hoover, president of Delta House, 1.6, 4 C's and an F. A fine example you set. Daniel Simpson Day has no grade point average. All courses incomplete. Mr. Blutowski, 0.0. Now I want you to tell Mrs. Stratton and Mr. Schoenstein exactly what I'm about to tell you now.
What's that, sir?
You're out. Finished at Faber, expelled. I want you off this campus at 9 o'clock Monday morning. And I'm sure you'll be happy to know that I have notified your local draft boards and told them that you are now all eligible for military service. Well, out with it.
Okay, I have 3 honorable mentions that I'll get through, and then we'll get into all of our interviews. No particular order. We have Slackers from 2002. You have Jason Segel in this, and Dewey Nicks, and James King, Jason Schwartzman. This kind of follows the PCU vibe. It's nothing to write home about, but there's a lot of funny scenes. It's pretty much you know what you're gonna get. But I enjoyed it. Soul Man from 1986. I love this movie as a kid. Now, looking back on it, it's probably not very PC, but you can't judge a book by its cover. If you hear the premise, and I'm going to tell you the premise, the knee-jerk PC police is going to be out, but the movie isn't as bad as they make it out to seem, and there is some interesting commentary you can get of it if you actually watch the movie and don't just judge a book by its cover. But basically, C. Thomas Howell can't get in. He needs to be able to get into a college, and he doesn't have any money. And so he decides to take these tanning pills, and then he applies for a scholarship at a black college, and that's how he gets in. On the premise, I can already hear people gnashing their teeth and stuff like that. But watch the movie. Then if you have judgments about it, come talk to me about it. But otherwise, you got to watch a movie first before you overreact about something. Anyway, I always enjoyed Soul Man. And lastly, Road Trip from 2000. This is a lot of fun. The reason it didn't make it, even though this is probably one of my favorite college era type movies, is it really doesn't take place much in college at all. They're really not. There are barely any school scenes, if any. There's some funny scenes, on campus with Tom Green, but really it's about the road trip. It's not actually about a college. So same thing with the Euro trip, which was a lot of fun as well. All right, let's get into our interviews right now. Okay, we're going back to school with Samantha, and we're going to start with college. And so welcome back. It's been a while.
It has been a while. I'm a little rusty.
I know, but you're not nervous. You're totally nervous.
I'm not nervous.
Yeah.
I'm chill. I was on vacation.
So you're just ready to jump back in the swing of things.
Ready to get back to the podcast.
So as we discovered, college movies are always movies that take place in college. There seems to be a lot less of those than high school.
Yeah. I feel like there's a lot of post-college movies.
Exactly.
Or, early professionals. Or, the summer before college, summer after, but there's no college campus, college experience type movies. Well, there are a few.
Yeah,
but
of course.
None of them are very good either.
Right, which is surprising because you would think that would be the... But maybe it's because not everyone goes to college. Everyone, I guess, technically goes to high school or is legally bound to go to high school, so...
Yeah, and it's more, I think, high school is more of a universal experience.
Sure.
College is definitely more, like... U.S. college is a very specific thing compared to, like, I think universities in other places of the world. It's its own culture.
That's right.
Yeah. So it's an open market.
That's right. Exactly. It's an untapped resource for movies.
Market. That's the word. I need to learn how to speak again.
Okay, so how many did you come up with, and do you have a specific list, or do you have honorable mentions, or you have a couple?
So I just came up with two.
Okay.
One was like the immediate only one I thought of, and then I was researching and I found a movie I talked about previously in the podcast was in there, and then I don't really have any honorable mentions. I haven't actually seen a lot of the kind of like cult classic-y ones.
Okay.
So I don't know. It was never my vibe. Like.
So high school was definitely more interesting.
Yeah. Oh, I have quite a few. I think because when I went to high school in like the early mid 2000s, so we got the 90s high school movies.
Yes.
You got like aughts. There was a lot of high school stuff.
There was, but we'll get into that later.
Yeah. So for college, the first one I thought of was Legally Blonde.
Absolutely. And actually, Brian almost put that on his honorable mention. But yeah, I mean, what a great movie. It's fun.
I honestly love that movie. Yeah. I think I might have talked about it here before, but yeah, I love it. And funny story, I actually saw it for the first time. I was on a family vacation when I was a kid. Well, when did this come out? Like, it came out in like 2001 or so.
That sounds about right. Yeah, because I think it was...
So anyway, I was on like a family vacation in Hawaii, and our hotel did like night movies.
Oh, really?
So they would like put up a projector,
nice.
And they would show movies, and for some reason they decided to show Legally Blonde, and it was right after it came out. So
2001 it came out.
Yeah, 2001-ish. So yeah, so I saw that movie while floating in a pool.
And you watched the whole thing, and you watched the whole thing and liked it and everything. Because it's hard to concentrate on certain movies when you're obviously doing other things.
But I liked it, and I've watched it many, many more times since. But it's always had like a weird, memorable.
How did you feel about the sequel?
I watched it, didn't love it.
Okay.
I've never seen it again.
But you'll rewatch the original.
The original, It's a cute movie. It's so funny. And her whole college experience, I wouldn't say is realistic by any means.
Yeah.
But I think how they did her, sorority girl to Harvard transition, her whole outfit and like wardrobe angle was cute. And it actually had a good message at the end.
That's right.
She was a smart woman despite how
her appearance
she appeared, and despite her admissions video.
Right.
Do you remember the video?
It's been years since I've seen it.
But yeah, she instead of like doing a typical application, she like made a video of herself like doing her like life.
Oh, that's and
she was like floating in a pool.
Yeah.
Like, with a
Go figure.
And drinking something, and she's like, "Please accept me to Harvard." But
yeah, it does have the message you can't judge a book by its cover, and actually she could use that to her advantage because people won't take her seriously.
Yeah, they didn't take her seriously, and she ended up doing really well. I think she was part of a case or something at the end, and she used some of her like personal knowledge to, I think, catch the case. It had something to do with, was like the woman's husband actually gay or something? It was like a silly twist for this like legal case she was working on.
But only she would have figured it out because of her little expertise. Yeah. Which is like a lot of these movies have like those twists. And again, there's nothing wrong with feel-good movies.
No.
And,
yeah, and Reese Witherspoon, great actress.
She is.
And it was still, it's a good, not really like a romantic comedy, but it's a kind of in that genre. And has this whole college angle.
Yeah.
So
good pick.
A multifaceted film. And
you might be the only one to pick this, so I'm glad you picked it.
Yeah.
So good job.
Oh, I want to watch it again.
And that's what this podcast is about. We want to make you watch movies you either haven't seen.
I haven't seen it in quite a while. think, were they making like a musical or like...
I think they did.
They did make a musical about it?
I want to say that the woman that played it, her last name was Bundy.
Oh!
And yeah, because there was like, I think, a Broadway production of it. So...
Okay.
Yeah, so you might have to check that out.
Ooh,
well.
Yeah, I don't know why I just thought of that. But anyway, so Legally Blonde, first one that came to mind. And the only other one I could think of for college is one I talked about on here before. It's the movie Love Story.
Yes, yeah.
Which is, go back to the 70s.
Yes.
That was a college-based
film.
It
totally was.
It was set at Harvard as well.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh, both of these are at Harvard.
We see a theme here.
That's the only college in the United States. But yeah, I think it started out, it covers at least, I think, a full year. It covers a full year of them going to college, and then it fast forward in time a bit. But
so Ally McGraw and Ryan O'Neal. Yes.
Yeah. I think it came out in 1970. And it has that perfect, like, back to school vibe. I don't know how to explain it, but it's like the fall. And it's, Ivy League, and they wear like sweaters, and it just looks cozy, and they're like studying in the library. And then I think she works on campus. She works in the library, and then he's on the hockey team. So
very East Coast vibe.
Very East Coast. Like, I'm from the West Coast, so I don't know. It was definitely a different college experience than mine, but it has all of those stereotypes, and they fall in love despite their different backgrounds. She's working class. He's very wealthy, and then tragedy strikes. Yeah, tragedy strikes. They do graduate. They get jobs.
They move in together, I believe.
It's all looking good, and then
cruel, hard world things that this is definitely, if you're going to do a list of tearjerkers, this might be at the top 5.
The first time I saw it, I definitely was very sad. I might have shed a tear, but it is pretty cheesy when you rewatch it. Some of the dialogue, and also the whole soundtrack that
it's very
goes
sappy.
Along with it is very sappy and melodramatic. So,
but that's some of the 70s movies started to get really kind of hard and dark. Where I think since it was 1970, it was still kind of in that 60s vibe.
Yeah, definitely. It was a little more sweet.
Than what the 70s turned into, because the 70s definitely got gritty.
Not so gritty.
Yeah.
And it was, I think, a little. It wasn't so, like, G-rated 60s, though. I think they... some of their rapport gets a little feisty.
It's like a nice balance.
Like right on the border between kind of like classic and more modern.
And it was incredibly successful. It was a big movie for that year. So.
And I never saw the sequel.
I didn't either. I didn't even know there was.
It's called Oliver's Story.
Oh, okay. So it's after she, well, spoiler alert, she dies, but
so it's about
after.
A widower struggling to cope with his wife's death.
Okay. Well, that immediately is kind of a downer. Deal with that.
It doesn't have good reviews on Rotten Tomatoes, so not worth it. Stick with the first one.
Absolutely. And same thing with Legally Blonde. Stick with the first one.
Yeah. It's like, don't make a sequel out of... We've discussed this
exactly.
Maybe that's where I mentioned Legally Blonde in this.
Maybe maybe
movies that didn't need a sequel, but
maybe I don't think you picked it for Best Actress Performance, but you might have picked Ally McGraw. I don't know if you picked Ally McGraw. We mentioned Love Story, but I'm trying to remember in the context.
I don't remember.
It might have been performance. Maybe that guy's by an actress. I don't know.
But both of these movies, Legally Blonde and Love Story, they're set in such like a specific time and place. Like you don't need to do it again.
No.
And it has a lot to do with the college setting.
That's right.
Like why we don't need her like post college law experience.
No.
The interesting thing about the story was her like getting her degree and
working her way
what
up.
She did. And the thing about Love Story was, they met and everything was great, and then she died, and we really don't need to see how that pans
out. Exactly. We don't need to see his potential next wife and all that fun stuff. But so those are it. No other honorable mentions. Okay.
Two. I don't have any, nothing else to add to the list. Those two came to mind. Let's just stick with those.
Good picks. Thank you, Samantha. Okay, Rachel has graduated from high school. She is now going to college, but the problem is she can't pick what college she wants to go to because, I don't know, college movies don't seem to translate as well as high school movies. I don't know, maybe because everyone has to go to high school legally.
Yeah, there's more stories there.
Yeah.
College maybe is not as much of a universal experience.
Yeah.
Or it's easy just to make high schoolers seem like they don't know any better.
That's right.
I don't know if I really knew any better in college either.
And interestingly enough, it seems like a lot of the people that play, the actors that play in high school movies are probably college age.
Yeah.
So maybe
older.
There's a fine line. Yeah, or older. Yeah. Oh, go back in time. Yes. Yeah. I think Sidney Poitier played a high school student at one point, and he was definitely in his mid to late 20s. So, yeah. Blackboard Jungle, good movie. Anyway, so let's get into nobody's picking this movie as their favorite college movie.
Well, it's not even my favorite college movie. It's literally just the only movie that, besides Pitch Perfect, I guess, that takes place in college that I've seen.
Yes.
Or Legally Blonde, but law school.
Yeah.
Kind of counts.
Yeah, it totally counts. Yeah. Okay, so we'll say it slowly in case people want to watch it on Netflix, which is where you found it.
It did. This was several years ago. I don't know if it's actually still on Netflix.
Well, it better be.
Yeah, everyone's gonna want to watch it after this. There's a bit of a story though. So I was hanging out with I was in high school.
Mm-hmm.
I was hanging out with some friends, all high school aged, and we were browsing through Netflix to try and find a movie to watch. And when you're in a big group of high school kids, nothing is more entertaining than really terrible, low-budget horror movies.
Absolutely.
And I don't like scary movies, but low-budget horror movies are hilarious.
Yes.
One of the other nights where we were doing this, we ended up watching Leprechaun into Hood.
Oh, yes.
Which is a classic.
Oh, yeah. And which, is that 3?
I don't even know.
I've seen the first 2.
I'm sorry.
Yes. Well, no, it was fun. I think we were in high school. We went to the video store to rent it on VHS.
Oh, wow.
Yes.
Did you walk 15 miles through the snow to get there?
No, but it was at least 5, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, no snow. California, no
That's
snow.
True. Okay, so we were browsing through Netflix to find movies, and this was... Oh, okay. So we ended up finding this movie, the title of which is called Thanksgiving.
Yeah.
And it is a holiday movie.
Oh, well, of course. Yeah.
Thanksgiving themed. And it's basically, the premise is that a zombie turkey or killer turkey somehow appears and goes on a killing spree. Pretty standard stuff. But as we were reading the description and looking at the promotional materials, like the cover art, it all looks very cheaply made. One of the people that I was with was sort of like, are we sure this isn't porn? And we're thinking, like, why would they put porn on Netflix? There's no way.
You just found the secret Easter egg.
Yeah, so we went back and forth as to whether or not this was a pornographic movie for a few minutes before eventually deciding to watch it.
Mm-hmm. And there aren't many good Thanksgiving movies, so that's, there's Planes, Trains, and Automobiles, and Thanksgiving. I think that's it.
If you ever do a Thanksgiving-themed episode, I can come back and talk about Thanksgiving.
Good. Well, we might just base it around this. So,
and it'll just be that for the whole episode. So anyway, we're having this debate as to whether or not this movie is porn. We finally decide to watch it. And the first frame of the movie is just a very tight shot on a nipple.
So you're like,
right, and so the person who was asking about if it was porn pauses it.
Like, I told you. Yeah.
And goes, are we sure? Do we want to keep watching this movie? And at this point, everyone was like, well, yeah.
Yeah.
But
it's probably like Cinemax porn, so it's not porn.
It's fine.
Yeah.
And so it turns out that the scene was just of this pilgrim running through the forest.
Okay.
Topless for some reason.
Oh, of course.
From this turkey.
Yeah.
And the turkey eventually dies or disappears or something. And so then the rest of the movie is set in what is considered the present day. And this turkey from the Pilgrim Age has now come back and is killing everyone again.
Of course.
And the reason why this is a college movie...
We're getting to the point,
is because the group of people who this turkey is stalking or targeting to kill is a group of college students who are very excited about it being Thanksgiving break.
Ah, okay.
And the scene where this happens is very much like a spring break movie. They all pile into someone's Jeep and they're like, woo, Thanksgiving break! And they're like ready to party.
Of course.
And and instead they all get very gruesomely murdered by a turkey puppet.
So the good thing about this movie, and it is still on Netflix, and by the way, they're saying our best guess for me would be 4.2 stars, which says a lot about my rating system. Came out in 2009. It's only an hour and 6 minutes.
Yeah, it's a quick, easy.
And you'll appreciate your friend that thought this was porn. Mm-hmm. There is a appearance by an adult film star named Wanda Lust on this.
I think I knew that. I after we watched this movie, I went on this very large binge on like what, how,
and why?
Where did this come from? And so I learned all kinds of weird trivia, including at the end of the movie when the credits roll, it says, what I think the turkey has a name. I don't remember what it is. It's like, we'll be back, in space or something totally ridiculous.
Yeah.
And so then I was reading about, the sequel, because it never happened. Uh-huh. And it was because the puppet that they used for the turkey got completely destroyed in the first movie, and they didn't have the money to make another one.
Crowdfunding, hello. That's like we could be donor one.
Let's get that Kickstarter up. We need Thanksgiving 2 in space.
Well, there is a review, and they were saying that this is the best killer turkey movie they've ever seen, which
of all the killer, there's a lot to choose from.
So after watching this and several other killer bird movies such as The Giant Claw and Poultrygeist, I mean, I think that's right up there. So. I'm going to, I don't know if this is on streaming, but I'm old school because I want more of a variety of movies available on Netflix. You can still get the physical disc. That may be put into my queue, so.
Yeah, okay, so I'm looking at the Wikipedia page for Thanksgiving right now. And it says that there was a sequel in 2013 called Thanksgiving 3.
Well, it's because 2 was just,
Yeah. And it was crowdfunded.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Who knew?
Yeah. Oh, yeah. So, okay. The first line of the plot summary. At the first Thanksgiving in 1621, a topless pilgrim is slain with a tomahawk wielded by an evil demonic turkey, which quips, "Nice tits, bitch." So if you didn't want to see the movie...
now
you absolutely
the screenwriting is brilliant. They may even... Well, maybe that was ad-lib, but yeah.
That was the thing. Throughout this movie, I just remembered, too, and it's corroborated by the last line, which I will save.
Okay, well, you gotta watch it.
I don't want... No spoilers.
It's only 66 minutes of your life. So when you guys finished it, were you just like, what did we just watch? Or we need to watch this again?
It was a split room. Some people in the room didn't want to watch it to begin with.
Sure.
I think at the end we were all sort of like, well, we'll never get that hour back.
No.
And then some other people wanted to watch the other horror holiday movie that was on Netflix, which was Santa's Sleigh. It's in like
Slay.
Yeah, Sleigh. We never got around to watching that because every time someone proposed it, whenever we were all together again, everyone was like, no.
We're going to have to get the group back together, and I will record it, and we will talk about Thanksgiving again, because who knew that how many years later you'd be talking about this on a podcast?
Yeah,
I'm thankful that you saw it. Yeah.
I think they're in college. Now that, as I was telling that story, they are in college. Centuries later, 5 college students. Oh, and they've got tropes. There's a good girl, a jock, a ditz, a redneck, and a nerd.
So it's basically the Thanksgiving turkey killing of Breakfast Club.
That's exactly what it is.
Perfect.
Yeah.
Perfect. Yeah. At first, I'm thinking like, okay, good, it's in college, so we could have just talked about this and dumped it into the college episode because we had nothing else to talk about. But okay, so let's. Do you have no college movies that you like at all besides this?
Well, I don't. Like is a strong word. I have seen.
Could think of.
Yeah. I liked Pitch Perfect. I haven't seen any of the sequels. I liked Good Will Hunting.
Yep.
The experience that I had watching Good Will Hunting, the reason why I don't want to talk about Good Will Hunting is one, I've only seen it once.
Okay.
And two, the experience that I had while watching it, the circumstances in which I watched it were not things that I necessarily want to talk about.
Got it.
But it's a great movie.
Mm-hmm. And now I'm intrigued, but I won't make you go there.
Not for the podcast audience.
Got it.
I really enjoyed the movie, and I think about it a lot.
Mm-hmm.
It was a very powerful movie.
Yeah.
And I feel like I wouldn't have anything insightful or good to say.
Do you ever go back and watch it?
Not since then, but I would like to.
Well, now you have to.
Now I have to.
Okay.
That's the rule.
But you got to watch Thanksgiving first, and then
I think
work your way up.
I think Thanksgiving is a good warm up
for
good
for anything actually, whether it be dinner or just or whatever. Yeah.
Especially if you're eating turkey.
That's right. Well, again, I appreciate this. Thank you for being on.
Of
Nobody would have ever picked this movie.
Yeah,
and
your podcast audience is going to be really confused by my movie taste.
my podcast audience is always confused by anything we pick, so this fits right in. So again, thank you, Rachel.
Of course.
All right, she's graduated high school, and now she's on her way to college. It's Danielle. Welcome back.
Yay.
So you have, I believe, a top 6, maybe 7 list.
Yes.
Because why be conventional?
I know.
Yeah. She's teaching me about integers and all these fun things, and now she's going to have her own interesting top college list. All right, let's get right into it. I'm not even going to say number whatever, because when we do that, it gets all off.
6.
Okay.
I'll give you some.
The bonus.
Yes.
Okay.
Bonus.
Number 6.
Number 6. It is a very new movie. It's a brand new movie. It just came out of the theaters.
Uh-huh.
No, came out, not in. It's gonna be on DVD soon.
There you go. It is now out of theaters, into your house.
Okay, good.
Yes.
It's like a commercial.
It is.
Life of the Party.
Oh, with Melissa McCarthy.
Yes.
Okay.
It was fun to watch. She's a divorced.
Did you saw it? Yeah.
Yes, she's a divorced mom
Mhm.
that, she realized like she's middle age and her daughter is going to college, and she gave up everything for her family,
Yeah.
and she just decided to go back to college, and it's really fun. I like her. So yes, I thought it was a fun movie.
Yeah, it's probably a silly, fun movie.
It is silly. It is.
Did you ever see Back to School with Rodney Dangerfield?
No.
Because that's similar.
Oh, really?
Yeah, because he's already been successful in his business, and he decides to go back to school because his son is going to college at the same time.
That's gonna be me.
That's going to be
few years.
So when Clara goes to college, you're going back with her.
Definitely.
Okay.
Oh, she's not allowed out of state. She needs to stay.
Good to know, Clara. I hope you don't listen. Number 5.
So number 5 is Good Will Hunting.
Oh, okay, yeah.
It is. I love Matt Damon,
Mhm.
and he did pretty well in that movie.
Oh, yeah.
And Ben Affleck.
Yeah.
as
Actually,
well.
these might be their 2 breakout roles together, at least.
Yeah, I think so.
Mhm.
And Matt Damon is really good. I
Yeah.
really like his movies. And this one is movie, and there is Robin Williams
Mhm.
again, which I love it.
Yeah.
I watched it long time ago, and I watched in Brazil first, actually. And yes, it's been a while that I don't watch this movie, but it's definitely on my list to watch it again.
Yeah.
Yes.
Is this one where I saw a long time ago? Matt Damon's kind of like the janitor.
He's a janitor,
but he's a genius
at MIT.
Right.
And Robin Williams is the professor.
Right.
Or researcher, I don't know, I don't remember, but he leaves an equation that's very hard. He couldn't
that's right,
figure
yes.
out,
And he figures
next
it.
day it's solved,
Right.
and but
And Ben Affleck plays his buddy because they're from, I think they're in Boston, right, or Massachusetts.
I think it's MIT.
Yeah,
so.
yeah. Well, very good, Danielle. She wasn't even born in the United States. She knows better geography than I do.
So yes, it's a beautiful movie. It's fantasy, of course, but it's very inspiring in some ways because he's very troubled, and Robin Williams trying to bring him
out of his shell.
Yeah, so it's beautiful.
And
It's a
plus,
beautiful
you love math and science.
and teaching, so
There
all
you-
together.
There you go. All right, number 4.
Wait, I need to find. So number 4 is A Beautiful Mind.
Oh,
of
just like
course.
just like Good Will Hunting.
No, but this is a real.
Yeah. Oh no, it's a true story. Yeah.
What's his name? Gladiator guy.
Russell Crowe.
Yeah,
Why don't we just call him Gladiator guy?
I just remember him like Gladiator guy. He plays very well, John Nash, and the story it's sad, of course, and it's so everything. I cannot, because if you don't see the movie, you cannot say too much about the movie
I've seen it,
because it kills everything.
You don't want to spoil it,
right?
yeah.
Yes, it kills everything. I can't say.
Yeah, because
But-
there's definitely twists at the end.
Oh, there is.
Yeah.
Yes, but they explore the side of John Nash about the schizophrenia.
Yeah.
And it's It's touching. Well, the guy is a genius. He did the game theory, which is applied for economics and so many stuff. We apply actually many times and in life. And he died. He passed in a car accident, I believe. Him and his wife a while ago.
Mm-hmm.
It was not too long ago.
Right.
But the movie is beautiful and it's touching, like I said. And yeah, I love it.
Good. Number 3.
Number 3. Oh my God! I'm seeing my list. It's like everything is. It's not fun. It's not like funny college. You know, porn.
You picked Life of the Party.
American Pie. There's not that.
No.
With me. There's not.
You just have fun in real life, not in
so
college.
get ready for the next one.
Oh boy.
Because it is the theory of everything. Okay. What is it about?
I've never seen this one. Have fun.
You all like, good. You don't even know what is the movie about.
I've heard of it.
So it's about what? You don't know. Anyway, it's Stephen Hawking. This is his story. And since the beginning, like him, like how the disease took over his body, and the story with his wife as well. There's a love story, but it's about him, and I was a big fan, and
When did this come out?
Last year, maybe.
Okay.
I don't know. It's a recent movie. It's not at all. But it's beautiful. You should watch. It's not your type of movie.
Wait, is this the one? Wait, is this the one with Del Toro directed it?
No idea.
Okay, maybe I'm thinking. Oh, I'm thinking of Shape of Water, which is completely.
No. It's Stephen Hawking.
Oh, okay, yeah.
I don't know how to say his.
It's about his wife.
The director is James Marsh.
Right. But the guy who played Stephen Hawking.
Oh, the boy.
Yeah.
Is Eddie Redmayne.
Yes. Eddie Redmayne. Yes.
That sounds right. Yes. So, and he reminded of Stephen Hawking.
Yeah, he does a really good job.
And he's an amazing actor, by the way.
So I have heard of this.
Great.
Yeah.
So the movie is sad. Like if you don't know Stephen Hawking, I don't think people think he's bored. Mm-hmm. It's a boring movie, but it is, for me, it wasn't. I was a huge fan.
Sure.
And I loved the movie.
That's good. That's why it's number 3 on your list.
That's why it's number 3 in my list.
Number 2.
So number 2, it is, I love this movie. I watched it a couple of times and I don't get tired. Is the Mona Lisa Smile.
Okay, I've never seen this.
Oh, it's so good. You don't know. So, is with Julia Roberts, and there's a bunch of famous actresses that I don't know the names, but I know the faces. And it is she's a professor in this girls' school, and is in the 50s, and everything is about preparing a woman to get married. And even the girls, some are excited. There's one in particular that is what she wants for her life, and she verbalized it. It's beautiful in the movie, but some no, they don't want that.
Right.
And if they don't do it, the family will kick them out because they're supposed to get married and start a family. And she's progressive, and the school is very repressive. So. I love Julia Roberts. She's great. And she bikes. She's not married. She has this freedom that inspires the girls.
Well, think about it. She's teaching. She's got her own job. She's not married. She's doing what she wants.
Yes. Yeah. And she questions.
Of course.
So she starts questioning, and that's bothering. The school,
the establishment,
and the parents as well. So it is. You never watched that?
No, I've heard of it, but I want to see it.
I think I watched it like 3 times, and I'll watch a few more. I don't get tired of it.
I'm glad you picked it because I think other people should see it too, including me.
Yes.
All right, number 1.
So number 1, and I love that movie, is The Nutty Professor.
Well, I mean, the original with Jerry Lewis. I actually like the one with Eddie Murphy. The remake.
I don't.
No?
I don't. I think Jerry Lewis is the best. Love him. I watched so many of his movies. So many.
You sure not
as
French?
A kid.
He's big in France.
As a kid,
Mhm.
I watched it. And The Nutty Professor, come on. Maybe the special effects are better with Eddie Murphy,
Mhm.
but he can't. You can compare. It's funny and
Mhm.
it's hilarious. And there's this sarcasm that it didn't have with the Eddie Murphy
Mhm.
movie.
It was more gross out, like
Yes.
today's humor.
Yes,
Yeah.
yes, and I watched it in black and white
Oh, of
as
course,
well.
yeah.
So there, this spice it up a little bit
Yeah.
because it's in black and white,
Sure.
and it was the original. I laughed, and I was a kid when I watched it. I was like under 10 years old,
Oh, yeah.
I guess.
Mhm.
The movie was not released on that time.
I know she's not that old, folks. This was released in the '60s. Yeah.
But I was as a kid, I
Mhm.
still being, but as a kid, I was a big Jerry Lewis fan, and
Mhm.
I watched many of his movies.
Yeah.
So that one, it's my
That's your favorite Jerry Lewis movie.
yes.
Yeah.
So this is my number one.
Nice pick. Do you like his movies with Dean Martin?
What do you mean?
It was him and Dean Martin were like the kind of the comedy duo.
The
Yeah.
duet?
Because Dean Martin was kind of like the suave, handsome.
Yeah,
he was a singer. And
Okay,
they starred in a lot of movies together.
Yes,
Yeah.
yes.
Yeah.
I like it.
Yeah. Okay, what are your bonus picks?
So my bonus picks. Just to be silly and be annoying with you.
Never annoying.
So one that I died laughing and I watched it as a teenager was a Scary Movie.
Oh.
And this is on college. There's scenes on college as well, and it goes like
That's
because
true,
It
yeah.
makes fun of all the movies,
All the
together,
Scary movies.
but just the first one.
Which is more of a parody on Scream than anything.
Yes, yes. So it was like the college, and there's like the football player.
Yeah.
There's all the
Yeah, the
cliches.
gay football player, yeah,
for
yeah.
sure.
Yeah.
And I watching the movie, and I cried, and I had hiccups,
Mhm.
crying, laughing. Like I was laughing so hard that I had hiccups. I'll never forget that.
Oh, you didn't say hip cups.
Hip cup. Yeah, I tried. It came in my mouth.
Yeah.
So yeah, I like that movie.
I like it
it's
too.
Kind of in college situation, but
Yeah.
I don't know if it counts or not.
Yeah, it counts. I like the movie. so.
And then there's one that is funny. But it's Monsters University.
Oh God.
Hey,
I'll give it to you.
It's on the title.
It was.
You cannot deny.
I can't. You're exactly right. I will give it to you. Do you like it better than the original Monsters Inc.?
No, I like
But it's
the
fun.
original
It's
Monsters.
fun.
I like Boo, and I like the whole story.
Sure.
It's cute, but it is fun.
It's cute.
It's like Sully going, "Oh, come on!" It is cute.
No, I
and
know.
It's funny, and I like it. So it's not like on my favorite list,
But
but
it's worth adding on.
Yes,
And if you like the original, you'll like this one.
yes, probably.
Well, great job as always.
Yay.
She had 8, folks. Well, or 7.5, as she likes to say.
Oh, yes,
Yes, because we like math here.
of course.
Yes. Thank you, Danielle.
Sure.
All right, we're back with Malin. We're going back to college with Malin. So welcome back, Malin.
No.
We just skipped out of high school. We barely made it through. And now we're off to bigger and better things. And Malin's going to talk about his favorite movies that take place in college.
Oh my gosh, I was in college for a really, 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 really long time.
That's okay.
I definitely don't want to go back to high school. I definitely don't want to go back to college. High school was worse. College, not so bad. Yeah, if I had to choose, I'd go back to college first.
Okay, that's good.
Yeah, so the interesting thing is I don't have a long list. I can't think of very many films that I associate with college. I mean, I can think of a few of like the likely suspects, like A Beautiful Mind,
Sure.
which, I saw it and it was great, but I don't know. I wouldn't put it on like a list of my favorites.
You're definitely not alone on this one. You're not alone. So.
Okay, cool.
Yeah.
And then Good Will Hunting, I saw that and I liked it when I saw it, but I've never been tempted to go back to it.
Okay, yeah, that makes sense.
Not a great sign. So I do have 2 films that are at least in some way related to college, and I can put them on a favorite list. But these are like a guilty pleasure favorite list. So the first one is Candyman, and I think I've probably mentioned this for I don't know on this podcast before. I can't imagine which episode it would have been for.
Maybe horror movies.
Yeah.
Or
maybe.
No. I think it was Chicago movies, right?
Yes, it was Chicago movies.
Yeah.
Oh, Brian, you got a brilliant brain.
A beautiful mind. A beautiful mind.
Yeah, you do. So Candyman. So it's college related in the sense that the main character is, I think, a graduate student, but anyway, like her creepy love interest is this college professor, and it kind of starts off the film by talking about urban legends, and there's this urban legend in Chicago called the Candyman, and then you get to kind of dive into this story, both in terms of like the horror aspects of this, but also in terms of like I was interested when I first saw it in this idea of urban legends, because I'd heard a lot of ghost stories, and I always used to love ghost stories, but I'd never heard the term urban legend before that. And I think, this was a film that I first saw like when I was not skipping high school, but sick from high school. No, like legitimately sick from high school. I swear that happened every once in a while. And so this was like this and like The Princess Bride. Like I used to like to watch films like that. Not that they're anything similar, but I used to like to watch these when I was sick.
That would be a good subject to do. What were your go-to movies when you were sick? That's a good subject.
Yeah, because I've definitely got a few. Princess Bride, because it starts out with a sick kid.
Yeah, absolutely.
A sick kid in the bed, kind of like this fantasy film that takes you out of like everything, and it's just a fantastic movie.
Yeah.
But this one, yeah. So I liked the urban legend discussion. I liked the mystery aspects of it. There's a huge amount of this that I didn't like or didn't care for, so that's why it's kind of on my guilty pleasure list. But yeah, so Candyman, that's a pretty good college movie, right?
Yeah, I'll go with it. Yes, definitely. Nobody picked it. You get it.
It's definitely not inspirational like A Beautiful Mind or whatever, but I think if you go to college and you stay there as long as I did, like you get a lot more jaded about it.
Yes.
So another one, this is even lower on my guilty pleasure favorite list. Flatliners.
Oh yeah, which they just remade, which I can't believe they remade.
Oh, they did not need to. Oh, you know what the worst thing about them remaking it is?
What?
I got suckered into watching it.
Oh no.
So, yeah, and I don't remember how it was like. I think it was on a streaming free service. I didn't pay for that.
Good.
Crap.
Good.
I think I was probably trapped in a hotel room or something. Because I was, I wasn't going to watch it, but it, kind of. I had to see how bad it could be.
Yeah.
And anyway, that's not saying much because the first film is not really great.
No, it isn't. It's entertaining, but it's not great.
Yeah, it's entertaining. And if you haven't seen like a lot of movies, or no, let me correct myself. If you haven't seen like a lot of music videos,
yeah.
Like this might look innovative.
That's a good point. That's a great comparison.
But, and at that time, like we didn't have cable, so I didn't see MTV very often. And, the only time I ever saw music videos really was on, like in the 80s when they used to be, like, there used to be, like, those half-hour disc jockey, like, TV shows.
Yes. Like on the
after
local
school, where they go through, like, the top, like, 4 or 5 songs at any given period. But like at the time that I was watching those, we're talking like, the Eurythmics, like Here Comes the Rain Again or stuff like that. Or like Girls Just Want to Have Fun. Like it was that long ago.
Right.
So I really didn't see MTV. I knew about MTV. I didn't know what was going on in music videos. So when I saw Flatliners, I was kind of intoxicated at that age by like all the crazy angles and the colors and the distorted lenses and whatever.
Yeah, it's very kind of like smoky and I know, I totally know what you're talking about there.
Oh, and I had never encountered a black light before that. So that was new for me. Yeah. But take that all out and you're not left with much.
Which is interesting because you think the cast is actually great. You get Kiefer Sutherland, Julia Roberts, Kevin Bacon, William Baldwin, and Oliver Platt. So on paper, you should have a decent film, but it doesn't necessarily translate.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Yeah, the cast was fantastic, and it's easy to get kind of suckered into it that way as well. And, I think, I think that my sister and I went and saw this in the movie theater like 3 times.
Oh,
when
wow.
It was out. Yeah, and again, it was like a love-hate relationship. Like, it was cool to look at, but, there's sections of it that just don't make sense or don't care about or are just stupid.
Well, what's funny is that, so I'm looking this up again, and it actually was released on my birthday in 1990, so who knew? I was 12 years old. Yeah.
Cool.
In August.
Happy birthday to you.
Yeah, thank you. What a way to celebrate. Well, I'll put me to sleep and maybe I'll come back.
Yeah. Well, so the whole thing about college, yeah, I mean, it takes place in, like...
It's like a medical school or something.
It's supposed to take place in college.
Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. But it's interesting to me because it takes place in these, like, this college that looks like a derelict museum.
Yeah.
Like, I don't know... I've never gone back to look at where it was filmed, but my impression of it was just based on like the architecture is that it was like filmed in like some abandoned like World's Fair exposition building from like the late 19th, early 20th century.
So this is interesting. It was shot on campus. It was shot on campus at Loyola University in Chicago. So both of your picks are in Chicago.
Yeah, and I was thinking of Chicago when I was saying that too. So when I was saying Expo building, I was thinking of the Chicago Expo.
Yeah.
So, cool.
Yeah.
Okay.
Good call.
So that was interesting to me.
Yeah.
Also, this idea that college students can. Maybe that's why I don't like college movies. Sometimes you only ever see college students that are just like so beyond the possibility of brilliance. They know absolutely every fucking thing, including in this film, like the limits of life and fucking death.
Exactly. Yeah.
Completely preposterous.
Yeah.
But yeah, I'd say it's a college movie.
No, I'll give it to you. And actually, if you want to have like kind of a popcorn movie on a lazy day, it's not a bad movie to just check out once.
No, it's not. Although I wouldn't recommend it if you're sick. I think there's probably a distinction between the two. A good Saturday matinee for a Saturday that you want to waste, but maybe not a good sick day movie.
Mm-hmm. Well, just for the actors alone, it's kind of interesting to see kind of their for some of them like their early work, like Julia Roberts and.
Yeah, I think Julia Roberts had been in a few things before them because I know that when I went to see it, I was aware of her and Kiefer Sutherland at the time.
Yeah, and definitely Kevin Bacon. Yeah.
Yeah, but Baldwin and Platt.
Yeah.
I didn't know them before that. I only ever noticed them after that.
I think Julia Roberts was in Mystic Pizza, maybe in something else, but. It was before Pretty Woman.
It was, yes.
Yeah. All right. Well, those are good picks, and nobody picked them, and I'm just happy somebody came up with some college movies. So that I'm pleased. So
nobody picked them because nobody wants to see them.
Right? Yeah, well, okay. I've seen them both, so that says something about me too. So.
Cool.
Awesome. Thanks, Malin.
Thanks, Brian.
If you enjoyed this podcast and are an iTunes user, please do the show a favor and head on over to the official iTunes page for Damn Good Movie Memories. Be sure to leave a rating and a review. This will allow the show to appear higher in the algorithm and spread the joy of this podcast to the masses. If you are not an iTunes user, you can still listen and subscribe on Podbean at damngoodmoviememories.podbean.com. Be sure to like us on Facebook under our Damn Good Movie Memories page. You can also listen to a limited number of episodes on YouTube. I hope you enjoyed this week's episode, and be sure to tune in next week for an all-new episode of Damn Good Movie Memories.
I am Dr. Fuck.
And I'm the Absol Alcoholic.
And we are part of the Rock and Metal Combat Podcast.
We are the Rock and Metal Combat Podcast.
That's right. And the way you can check us out is we are on iTunes and also Podbean. And we forgot a review recently. I got this review right here. It says right here, it says, Rock and Metal Combat Podcast is the greatest podcast in the world, and it's my #1 podcast, signed by Science. Now, and then Science also says... Science also said... My second favorite podcast is It Doesn't Matter, the Rest Suck. Rock and Metal Combat Podcast on iTunes and Podbean. Check it out.
Science! Are you ready for the hottest new podcast out there?
check out the Vieira Vault, featuring none other than Dr. Fuck Ralph Vieira. You will hear personal stories and personal songs from the vault. There ain't nothing else like it. The one, the only, the original Vieira Vault on Podbean, Stitcher.com, and iTunes.
Spreaker.
God damn it.